se llama... se me olvidó. La cagué. Ah, mentira. Pero, hola gente de YouTube, aquí estamos con un nuevo video para el canal sobre un juego que se llama Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. El día de hoy lo vamos a jugar y por favor suscríbanse, dale like y compartir por favor. Este juego es nuevo del día de hoy, vamos a jugarlo, no sé de qué se trate, pero bueno. Vamos a jugar, ¿sí o no? Sí. Se tratará de un juego ese de los... ¿cómo se llama? Backroom parece, no sé. Si quieren se pueden ir suscribiéndose, dale like y comentar por favor, cualquier lo que sea, cualquier cosa. Me pueden apoyar. Igual pueden seguirme en TikTok, que me llamo igual que mi canal de YouTube, pero menos con el redondo. Me llamo Patricio barra baja TY en TikTok para que me vayan a seguir por favor. Y gracias. Y el día de hoy vamos a jugar esto. A ver. Ahí. Ya confirmar. Introduce la hora actual. ¿Qué hora es? A ver. Son las 16. No, no son las 16, a ver. Son las 4:20. Las 4:25. Las 4:25. No, pues me equivoqué, po. ¡Ya! No, lo tengo que sacar de nuevo. Puse a M. Y son PM, po. Ah, que soy payaso. No se puede cambiar. No, la embarré, po. Puse a M. Ah, a M la puse. No, ya. Voy a empezar de nuevo. Es que me equivoqué en algo. Jijiji. Ya. Ahora vamos a empezar. De nuevo. Lenguaje. Español. Claro que sí. A ver, ¿qué hora es? Son las 4:26. Van a ser las 4:27. Ahí sí, po. Las 4 pm. 4:27. Oh, te carga luego, po. Ya. Ahí está, po. Ahí lo arreglé. Son las 4 pm. PM significa tarde. AM de la mañana, po. Bueno, iniciar partida. Bueno, sí. Chavo, ¿qué paudía? A ver, po. Dime, po. Simón, po. ¿Qué paudía?
This is the story of a man named...
Ah, ¿hasta en inglés? Ya. Idioma español. Mostrar sus títulos y tamaño, sí. Ah, me tocó leer entonces. Genial. Ustedes si saben leer, lo leen con su mente, no sé, ahí. Bueno, bueno.
Stanley.
¿Qué me
Stanley
están comentando?
on his desk,
Listo.
telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although as though he had been made exactly for this.
Lo siento mucho si no ven, pues es que... ¿Cómo se llama? Si sale en pantalla azul es que
And
estoy
then one
viendo los
day something
comentarios.
very
Por eso.
peculiar happened. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that
Ya pues no me digan esas cosas en mi chat, pues no
no
se
one
digan
had
cosas,
showed up
cualquier
to give
cosa.
him
Digan cómo
instructions,
están
call a
el día de hoy,
meeting,
así como
or
estoy
even say
yo.
hi.
em,
Never in all
¿Cómo
his
se llama?
years at the company
Digan cosas
had
buenas,
this
pues no
happened,
digan
this
cualquier cuestión en
complete
mi chat, pues.
isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
Si quieren decir
Shocked,
cualquier cosa me
frozen
pueden hablar a
solid,
mí, pues
Stanley
no
found himself
ahí,
unable
pues
to
en el
move for
chat,
the
cualquier
longest
cosa.
time. But as he came to it,
Uy, ahora me muevo. ¿Qué? Ojalá que no sea de terror, nomás el juego que si es de terror ya.
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Sí, gracias, Gaspar, yo igual, pues. Yo estoy bien. Ya, Simón, córtala, me ponía eso de nuevo y... Hiper baneado de mi canal.
No matter how hard
Ah,
Stanley
pero
looked, he
mentira.
couldn't find a
Es broma,
trace of his
pero bueno.
co-workers.
No escriben cosas aquí, po. Escriban como otra cosa de sobre el juego, sobre mi día, o otra cosa, po. ¿Y ustedes qué están haciendo? ¿Ya fueron a ver el partido, no? Si quieren sobre comentar esas cosas, hablemos. O no sé. ¿Verdad? Pues la misma hora, puse la misma hora aquí. Son las 4:31. Y ahí son las 4:31 también, ¿o no? Uy, parece que sí. Uy, este día mío, o sea, estoy escribiendo en la computadora. ¿Y dónde está mi computadora? Ya me agacho con L2 y con L1. Me agacho con los dos. A ver, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué me están hablando? ¿De qué se trata? ¿Qué? ¿El celu? ¿Qué celu? Simón, ¿qué está hablando? ¿De qué se trata el celu? ¿De qué se trata? dice, no sé qué. No sé pues si me lo descargué recién el juego. Por eso lo quise streamear ahora recién. Pero se veía bueno el trailer.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his...
¿Cómo? Ah, no todos son bots, algunos son patito-daza. ¿Cómo eso? Elijamos izquierda o derecha. Izquierda para acá y derecha para acá. Izquierda, derecha. Izquierda, derecha. ¿Cuál digan, gente? Avísenme, po. Me invitó el Gaspi. El Gaspi de los Gaspares. Unidad Surbo. Ojalá que no diga nada raro, por favor, gente. Si dice algo, lo silenciamos. El Gaspi de los Gaspares. Bueno, eligemos izquierda, izquierda o derecha. ¿Cómo que atrás? Atrás no puedo ir, po. Dígame en los comentarios, por favor. ¿Izquierda o derecha? ¿Izquierda o derecha? Dígame. Buena, po. Ahí. ¿Izquierda acá? Entonces, bueno, vamos. Ya fui, po. Está de retrasado tu directo, parece. Uy, tengo miedo.
Yet there was not a single person here
de nuevo
either.
la puerta. Yo
Feeling
creo
a
que este
wave
juego es de
of
terror.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
No sé,
there.
lo descargué, pero que no sé de qué. Ah, de nuevo la puerta se cierra. No, por favor, tengo que subir escalera, no. A ver, ¿arriba o abajo?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
¿Abajo? Uy, no. Hay una luz roja acá.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours.
Se
He
cerró de
might be
nuevo la
fired for
puerta.
that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Me devolví de nuevo, qué raro, ¿qué pasa? Ah, buena, po. Buena, Ario, ¿cómo está ahí?
He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon.
Juego un juego nuevo que se llama Uy, ¿qué pasa?
Then he imagined himself
¿Me estoy haciendo
soaring
más
through
gigante o
space
qué?
on a magical starfield, and it too
Estoy jugando un juego que se llama Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Algo así se llama, no sé.
remaining so lucid. And then perhaps the
Es
strangest
nuevo,
question of
recién
them all
nuevo parece,
entered
¿no?
Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the
La
voice was
una.
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he
Ah,
thought it
ya
all very
entendí el
odd and
juego.
wondered if this
Se
voice
trata que
spoke to
tengo
all
que ver
people in their
las
dreams, the
pistas.
truth was
Mira,
that, of
esto
course,
está en rojo, está
this was
bien.
not a dream. How could it be?
A, B,
Was Stanley
11,
simply
12
deceiving
y ya.
himself, believing that if
Eso
he's
está bien,
asleep, he
sí.
doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now
1,
as he's
2,
ever been
B,
in his
4.
life.
¿Está bien?
Now, hearing the voice
La
speak
caja
these
estaba
words was
aquí,
quite
no
a
sé, no me
shock to
acuerdo.
Stanley. After all, he
El
knew
café
for
está ahí, está
certain,
en el
beyond a
suelo,
doubt,
sí.
that this was in fact a dream.
300.
Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a
4.
moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
A, B,
So he
11,
closed his
12.
eyes gently, and he invited
Así
himself
era.
to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press
No
of
veo
the
nada,
mattress
po.
on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons.
Déjame seguir
Please,
presionando el
it's
botón.
all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Ah, para
Stanley
despertar.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real.
No.
I must be real. I must
¡Qué
be.
miedo!
Can
¿Qué
anyone
es
hear my
eso?
voice? Who
¡Corre!
am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Ah, me asusté, po.
Other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings.
Ah, me mataron.
Her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Me morí, po.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yo creo que ahora tengo que Y me...
When Stanley
derecha.
came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ah, ¿quién erí? A ver, pues dime quién erí, pues. ¿Cómo que pendejo no dura nada? Ah, dime, a ver, dime. Debe ser el Gabriel. Una más que me diga insulto en el chat, banearé a esa persona. Le quitaré porque no la voy a escribir más.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, but eager to get back to business, Stanley...
Ya listo, baneado. Voy a banearlo del canal. A este payaso. No sé quién será, pero bueno. Di tu otra últimas palabras. XD. No sé quién sea, pero bueno. Espérenme, gente, si me quedo quieto es por voy a banear a una persona que está puro molestando en el chat. Ya lo voy a banear. Ya para que lo que escriba no va a salir en mi, en mi canal. Puede escribir cualquier cosa ahora. Listo. Ya lo quité.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
No, me fui para abajo sin querer. No, la embarré. Que soy un payaso.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
What the... 25, 37, 38. Oh, anda
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
¿Me morí?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Juego.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
por
memo.
la derecha. Ah, no. Y me voy por la izquierda.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No,
¿Qué?
no, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change
¿Por
anything
qué
when
no
we
se
were back
abre
in
de
that
esta
room with all the
puerta?
monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story. I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
¿Qué? No entendí nada. No entiendo el juego. ¿Qué tengo que hacer?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Para mí que tengo que apagar todas las computadoras yo. Sí, ahí voy otra. Ah, tengo que hacer.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Bueno,
Oh,
pues gané.
no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Iniciar. Me cago, no.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
¿Qué pasó? Sonó una bocina y... Ah, de reinicio de nuevo la miércoles.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle. Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Uy, ¿ahora dónde estoy?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something! Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. Oh, never mind. You're not a dog. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Ah, hola, pues Gabico. Gabico, ¿cómo estamos? ¿Se abrió esta puerta? ¿Qué hay acá? Teléfono, una cosa.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone
Ah, buena, pues.
with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Je suis dans la Memory Zone, seul sur l'abri de l'eau, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour. C'est là, dans la
And over
Memory
here
Zone.
is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Esa es la persona que estaba muerta, parece, ¿o no? Esa es la señora que estaba al lado de él. O no sé si cayó, no tengo ni idea, pero estaba vivo. Capaz que esta sea su casa. 29.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Hay que ver los ajustes un poco. Controles. Opción pausar. X interactuar. Hallarte. Tiene 4 lugares y otro botón no sirve para nada. Bueno.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say...
the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time, by virtue of the fact that you both are and are. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about.
No tengo todo el tiempo, habla mucho.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie 9's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie 9. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive.
Cállate.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking, and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been... Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months.
Está hablando mucho.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all...
Oh, que habla demasiado, pero pincho este.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
Es nunca el fin. ¿Cómo que es nunca el fin? ¿Cómo no entiendo? Es nunca el fin, es nunca el fin. Qué bola, de juego. ¿Qué tú decís del futuro? ¿Qué? El final nunca, el final nunca. Está todo hecho pedazo acá. ¿Qué es esta planta acá? No, bájame. Ay, hasta pájaro. Son. Uy, no me está dando miedo, po. ¿A dónde me fui? Al Egipto me fui. Me fui con Tegref. Ah, de nuevo aquí no.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Ahora que me van a mostrar otra cosa más. Ay, qué calor, ya che. Me voy a más. Y hable todo ese tipo de mensajes. Wow. Uy, llegué al tiro acá.
You see, Stanley, Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy.
Y adiós, gente de YouTube. Nos vemos en otro video. Y chao, chao. Y adiós, mi gentuza.
To announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Lo dejamos por el día de hoy, gente, acá. Mi gentuza. Y nos vemos en otro video. Adiós. Hasta la próxima. Y adiós. Chao, chao.